All right, everybody, we now have an answer. We have an answer to how this team can respond from adversity. We have an answer to how this team can get back up after being put on their back. And as I've said the last couple weeks, that's a very important skill in the NFL because you're going to lose games. You're going to go on little losing streaks. You're going to have moments where things don't go well. This isn't college football where a team can go on a 3-year winning streak and never have to face that coming off of a lost moment. So, nice to know that there are some components of this team that know how to get up off the mat. So, 34-14 Seahawks in Atlanta. They overcame a lot. They overcame injuries. They overcame penalties and got it done. This post-game review is brought to you by BetUS. More on them a little bit later, but we got to talk about this game a little bit first because overall, I think you saw a lot of the stuff that we've been trying to talk about, right? Where the run defense really was not that good in this game, but because the passing defense stepped up, it didn't really matter that much. Like, we got run on in this game for over 150 yards, close to 5 yards a carry, and the main reason why we got it under 5 was because Kirk Cousins had like a negative rush, and at the end of the game they ran the ball with backups a little bit for no real significant yardage. So you have that element at play here, and yet the Falcons only score 14 points because this game, like many games, ultimately came down to what can the Falcons do on their passing downs? What do they do on third down? So this week, the run defense was bad, but not so bad that it made the pass defense not matter. And when the pass defense needed to matter, not that they played perfect, but they played well above their heads given all the injuries they have. And they got some big plays at some crucial moments. And then on the other side of the ball, on the offense, we didn't necessarily have an amazing running game going here. It was a decent enough running game. You'd want better given that you're playing this Falcons defense that has such a weak front. But it's enough to at least be able to say we're not just asking Geno Smith to do everything here. We don't live or die by him every single moment. So you're coming away from this game thinking those two things primarily. You're coming away thinking about good things. So congratulations to most of the team. and I do mean that. I think that there was a lot more coming in to help this team than there was to hurt this team from this team this week. We had the penalty, right? We had the penalty on the first touchdown that ended up costing us 4 points, which it was a hold. And there are obviously other things that happen in this game. You had the really bad sack and penalty back-to-back that pushed us out of field goal range. But overall, like, you're looking up and down this roster, you're looking up and down at this team, and you're thinking to yourself, that was a group effort today, right? This was not 2 years ago against the Lions, where it's Geno Smith and a couple of the other skill players on offense and then nothing else. And that's real football. What we saw out there today was real football. Real football is not, I need my quarterback to be perfect every single moment of the game for us to win. Real football is showing up as a team and performing to the point where Geno gets to be a B+ in this game, right? He has a B+ game. Actually, the volume numbers, a little bit subdued. You get this game where JSN, for some reason, somehow he plays this whole game and doesn't even get 10 receiving yards. And it's okay. It's okay because a guy like Ken Walker steps up and makes the best catch of his career so far. So, you got that with the offense, you got that with the defense too, right? Look over at the defense. You wouldn't say that the pass rush was stellar, but when they really needed to make a big play, they got the Boye Mafe strip sack, Derek Hall touchdown that makes up for so much other stuff you're doing throughout this game, right? There are plays where Cousins has 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw, it feels like, and the pass rush isn't getting anywhere near him. But then you get a play like that, and it makes the whole wait worth it. So, really cool stuff from the Seahawks today. But before we go further, I want to tell you about my friends over at BetUS. You can head on over there right now. Promo code YouTube150 gets you a 150% deposit bonus on your first deposit and 125% on your next 2 deposits up to $2,000. You can go over there right now, throw down some bets on this very fun, very interesting Sunday night football game. Is Russell Wilson going to prove that he deserves to start over Justin Fields? Are the New York Jets going to save their season? What's going to happen tonight? If you feel like you have an inkling, you can go bet on it. You can go bet on pretty much anything. Again, promo code YouTube150. Go check out the best online sportsbook and casino out there. Get to some gambling. And don't forget to collect your free money. All right, so back to taking a look at this very, very impressive Seahawks game. Starting with the offense, because that's the side of the ball that I kind of expected good things from, right? Offense, I mean, it wasn't massively over the top or anything, right? You're talking about 340 yards of offense. You're talking about 27 points, right? Because it's 27 with the strip sack taken out. We're talking about real nice day for Metcalf. Catches a big touchdown right before the end of the half, which was, I mean, this is coming from me. You guys know me. I wanted Geno to just chuck it out of bounds or throw a quick 5-yard out route to get the field goal closer. I was not even thinking about a touchdown. And for this team to not only go for the touchdown, but hit it, I mean, that changed the whole feel of the game for me. I did not feel particularly good about that game until that moment, and then I actually, even after Atlanta scored their touchdown coming out of half, I felt good. So, you got a nice little game from Noah Fant as well. He's putting up some numbers. Credit where credit is due. I definitely will give credit there, even though I wonder if he's part of this offense's best possible solutions. Right? Walker was good, especially given the fact he was probably sick. Let's be real here. He's not himself, and he's still got in the end zone twice, including, like I said, the best catch of his career so far. Almost 5 yards a carry. So it's a good game from Walker. It's not a massive game from Walker. It's not like he had, 150 yards or anything like that. But everybody's lifting everybody else up, it feels like, right now on this offense. And I'm even going to include the offensive line in that a little bit. I'm not saying it was great. I'm not even convinced it was good, especially because you're playing Atlanta's front, but it feels like it might at least be taking steps in the right direction. Because Geno Smith only got sacked once in this game. Obviously, a lot of that is on Geno and what he does. But I did feel like there were at least some opportunities for him to hold on to the ball long enough to make the play. And given that they were integrating a 6th round rookie in Mike Jarrell in this game, that they were sticking him in at right tackle, I'm going to be really happy with that. He had one flag. I think he allowed the one sack on Geno. And then other than that, I thought he was fine. So, gotta be said. Gotta be said, it wasn't what I was talking about in that pregame video, right? I said over and over and over again, the Seahawks find themselves in situations where they put the whole world on the quarterback's shoulders, whether it's Russell Wilson or Geno Smith. This game, they did not do that. It wasn't amazing, but it was good enough. So, hey, steps in the right direction. And I'm sure we're going to find some stuff on the tape with the offensive line. I'm sure we're going to say, oh, Laken Tomlinson still had these 5 or 6 really bad plays. And I'm sure Jarrell put some bad plays out there too. I don't know if anything good is coming out of this rotation at right guard, which we continue to stick with. Bradford mostly, a little bit of Haynes. We got a rushing touchdown with Haynes in this game, by the way. Feels like that might be worth noting. I still don't totally understand everything that's going on with regards to the offensive line. I can't pretend to say that this was their big turnaround moment, but this was, I'm at least going to say, a step in the right direction. It's an early start. It's a 10 a.m. start for us on the West Coast here. You're playing in that dome. You would probably expect things to be a little bit better against that Falcons rush, but I'm going to take a lot of positivity out of that. I'm going to take a lot of optimism out of that, because I do believe that at the very least, most of the players on this offensive line are getting a chance to build continuity. Even if we're not able to put out the same 5-man unit every week, even if we're doing this rotation thing that I think is holding us back a little bit, even with all that, they are building a level of comfort playing with each other. Like Laken Tomlinson, every game he plays is one more game he's played as part of this offensive line. So Connor Williams came in right before the season started, basically, 3 weeks before the season started. Wasn't really in shape to play until week 1. So every moment they're able to build experience is something that I'm going to have an appreciation for. I'm going to be understanding of. And by the end of the year, hopefully by the end of the year, they're actually a good unit. But I saw steps today. It was enough for the offense to do what they needed to do. And the offense backed it up by being efficient. They didn't leave a lot of points on the board. They obviously had the penalty on the first drive that took off 4, but other than that, at the very least, when they had the opportunity to put points on the board, they consistently did. They make up for some of the errors with what they did right before the end of the half, which, again, I wasn't giving them really any chance to be able to do in that spot. The fact that they were able to dial up a touchdown, that's what you should be looking at if you're trying to evaluate Ryan Grubb, right? The potential to be great. So it's not always going to be great. This is his first NFL experience. So I look at stuff like that and I think this can work very well. The trick play. Love the trick plays from Grubb. Hit a big one. Didn't result in points, but you can see that stuff. You can see how easy that stuff can work sometimes. So I'm happy on that side of the ball, but it's the defense. This defense, I didn't know they had that in them. And again, not everything was great. I'm not going to pretend like everything was great, but bottom line, 14 points allowed in Atlanta with no Woolen, no Brown, no Burns, no Rayshon. You found a way. That's all I really care about, right? You're holding the Falcons passing attack to under 7 yards an attempt. Kirk Cousins goes 6.6 yards per attempt. I will live with that happily. I expected much worse than that. Let me have that, and I'm not really going to have too much critical to say about anything else, because that tells me you embraced the philosophy of the modern NFL. You can give up stuff on the ground. You can have a bad run defense. But if you're going to get it done on passing downs, if you're going to get it done on 3rd down, if you're going to get it done on 4th down, you're not going to put up the points that match the rushing yards. The thing that I've said over the last couple years is you have to have a truly horrific run defense for it to actually cost you games. And for the last few games, the Seahawks have had a horrific run defense. In this game, it was bad. It was, you're playing a really, really good player in Bijan Robinson. It's understandable he gets his 100 on you. Falcons are a good rushing team. They got a good offensive line. It happens. So the bottom line is they held Atlanta to 14. I'm not going to sweat everything else too much. And you're probably watching that game. You watched that game today and you were thinking to yourself, how does Atlanta only have 14 points when they're moving the ball this easily and they're getting such a big cushion from the defensive backs and the pressure is only there sporadically? It's because when we needed to make a play, we kept making the play. Our sacks came on 3rd down. One of our sacks scored a touchdown. So it's that, how are you doing in the 5% of most important plays throughout the game, saving you from maybe not playing your best in the other 95%. So they were clutch today. That's what I'm trying to say here. And, I'm not the world's biggest believer in clutch as far as some people consider it to be some magic spell that just makes people run faster or tackle harder or hit harder in big situations. That's not something that I really think exists the way a lot of people talk about it. But this goes to show what you can do if you can at least do enough to force the other team into passing situations and letting our pass rush go. Because regardless of what happened today, it's still a good pass rush, right? Our pass rush is deep, it's talented, it's got a lot of fun players on it, a lot of players that can get it done. Like, you want to unleash those guys. And even this year, as bad as the defense has been the last 3 weeks, when we get the opposing team into third down and passing situations, we typically do extremely well. Atlanta's going to get theirs. Atlanta got their yards. Atlanta had their easy completions. I got nothing really to say about any of that. It is what it is. That's how the NFL works right now, especially when you're down to like your number sixth string cornerback. So, not tripping on any of that. Much better special teams today, right? D. Williams actually had a good punt return. No problems on that end. Had really nice kick coverage from Chenault on one play. Made our field goals, including a 59er. Hello. Love that. Punting was pretty good too, so special teams. We're on the uptick a little bit here. And it was enough to beat Atlanta by 3 scores on the road. So I am feeling pretty good. I was prepared for the worst once I got the news about Woolen. I was also worried about K9 today, and I do think that you saw that K9 couldn't go a full load like he usually does. But, man, other people stepped up, did the thing, and here you are. It's that simple sometimes, guys. Just don't ask your quarterback to do everything, and you can win games in this league without him playing like a first-team All-Pro guy. And I'm not saying he isn't. I'm saying we don't want him to have those numbers. If Geno Smith is throwing for 400 yards in a game, that probably means your defense wasn't doing anything to help him out, because in order to throw for 400 yards, you probably had to drop back to throw like 60 times most of the time. So this is football. This is what a football game should look like. Your quarterback is efficient. He's clean. He doesn't turn it over. And that's all he needs to do to get a win. All right. So, life is good, man. Life is good for the Seahawks for now. It may not be in a week. It may not be tomorrow. I mean, if we get bad news on Metcalf, who did get carted off at the end, I mean, tomorrow will be a bad day regardless of this win. But for whatever it's worth, I can say from my perspective, I doubt the injury is anything too serious because he didn't look particularly upset. He just kind of looked annoyed that he couldn't get to 100 yards. He was a yard short. So I don't think we have anything to worry about there. I don't know of anybody else who got hurt in this game either for the Seahawks. Okay. Stream later tonight. You guys know the drill, but happy days are here again. Thank you to BetUS for powering the video.